evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, and as always, I'm excited to be able to bring empowering information to everyone. So many times we feel unempowered. Well, folks, there is more that we can do for ourselves than many entities want us to believe. And that's what this program is all about, is providing empowering information that allows you as an empowered individual to make choices to help yourself to a better health journey. Now, today we have Pharmacist Ben Fuchs on with us, as it is Pharmacist Friday on Daily with Doc with Becca. And we're going to be talking about this thing called Digesting Life Without a Gallbladder, a Nutritional Escapade. So if you have been encouraged to have your gallbladder removed and thinking that was the absolute only way, and now you're regretting it, which many people don't, but I think there's more people that do, because you're experiencing things like diarrhea, not able to tolerate fatty foods, gas, heartburn, nausea, vomiting, jaundice, intermittent episodes of abdominal pain that you just can't figure out. Well, those are common symptoms if you have had your gallbladder removed. And today we're going to be talking about what you can do to help support your body so that nutritionally you can get that absorption without the pain. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us as we have a live Zoom audience. I just want to welcome all of you that are here with us today. Thank you so much. And if you're watching us on a replay, or if you're watching us on the live stream on any of the platforms that we are streaming to, and you would like to join us live, you are welcome to do so Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. That is 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, and 9 to 10 in South Africa. So figure it out. Wherever you are, we are available during that time, and you are encouraged to join us. In your URL, in your browser, put, is it zoom.dailywithdoc.com, zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Now, this program is being sponsored by DailywithDoc.com, where you will find replays of our previous episodes. You'll also find some articles that'll benefit you on what you can do if you love to read rather than listen to a Zoom. That's all right, or a video. We are here to meet people where they're at. We also have the Good Foods, Bad Foods list that has been developed by Dr. Joel Wallach, who is the man who started this crusade, which I see he's on with us and listening today. Hello, Doc. So glad you took the time out of your schedule to be here with us. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. Now, if you were invited by somebody specific, we want to make sure that you get back with them. They cared enough, took the time to share this program with you because they know that there is something within this program that is going to speak to you and empower you as an individual to make some changes that could be simple, not always easy, but simple to do to help you find a better health journey. So without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to share with all of you a pharmacist that just really takes this whole nutritional approach serious. In fact, yes, he is a pharmacist. Yes, he knows all about these pharmaceuticals that are recommended for this symptom and this condition and this condition and this condition. But he was actually fired whenever he recommended some nutritional approaches instead of or in addition to taking a pharmaceutical. So the man that's not afraid to speak truth is here with us. And let me find him. There you are. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Hello and welcome to Daily with Doc.
Well, thank you for having me. You look radiant in red. That's your color.
Thank you.
I think that's your color.
Thank you.
You're just a colorful person. You always have bright, happy colors. Yellows and reds and blues. You appreciate color.
I do appreciate color, but I also have advisors that tell me, don't wear that.
Oh, okay.
Or, don't wear
All
that.
right. Well, your advisors are doing a good job. You look beautiful.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. And you're looking great and handsome yourself today.
Yeah.
Now, the gallbladder.
The gallbladder, yes. You know, there's 500,000 gallbladders yanked out of human beings every year.
Every year?
500,000 a year. That's the latest statistic. I read that about a month ago. Isn't that crazy? 500,000 every year. And most of them unnecessarily so. Most of them because there's some kind of either stone formation or some kind of pain that's involved. You know, occasionally there's gallbladder cancer, which is a serious cancer, and that's one thing. But for the most part, it has to do with gallstones, which are the end result of digestive issues. The gallbladder is a digestive organ, but much more than that. And bile is a digestive fluid, but much, much, much more than a digestive fluid. I always consider bile to be the most underappreciated fluid in the body. And that's above and beyond its critical role in digestion. Bile plays a role in what's called signaling. It helps, it tells cells what to do. It tells cells how to metabolize. For example, metabolic syndrome, which I know you're very familiar with, is a health challenge that involves metabolism, how the body processes energy. That's basically what metabolism is. And as it turns out, bile is a very important regulator of metabolism. It tells the body how to process energy above and beyond digestion. When we think of bile, you know, which we hardly ever do think of bile, but if we do think of bile, most people think of it as a digestive substance, which it is, but it's really much more than that. It's actually like a hormone. Bile is like a hormone. Without a gallbladder, you're going to have problems producing, having bile effect in the blood. You have problems with bile's effects on metabolism. You're not going to be able to metabolize food, and you're not going to be able to process energy the same way. And there's a very important link, by the way, between bile and blood sugar control. Without a gallbladder, all of your bile processes are going to be compromised. Also, there's a phenomenon, I'll explain this a little bit in a second here, a little bit further in a second. Bile recirculates. And if bile is recirculating with toxicity in it, the bile will eventually become sticky and sludgy, and again, less effective and more prone towards forming stones. So let me explain how this whole thing works. We've talked about this before, but just repetition is reinforcement. So in the interest of reinforcement and repetition, you eat a food, goes into your stomach, goes into your mouth, esophagus, drops into your stomach. It's broken down in the stomach in a very kind of large way, sort of like when you're sculpting, making a sculpture out of clay. You first rip off big hunks of clay and then you fine tune it with a scalpel. The stomach kind of grinds the food up in a big way and produces an acid mass. That grinding action depends on enzymes, depends on stomach acid and other digestive stomach juices, and also depends on mechanical or grinding action by the muscles in the stomach. All of that produces a soupy mass, which is called chyme. And all of that presupposes that you're making stomach acid, that you have enough digestive enzymes, and that you're making gastric juices, stomach juices. All of that is an assumption because that's not always the case. But assuming that's the case, the chyme, which is the acid mass that the food has been turned into, is kind of a soupy thing. It drops into the intestine. At that point, when that soupy acidic mass, the chyme, drops into the intestine, you have the most important process in the digestive, the most important phenomena in the entire digestive process occurs. So as the food drops into the intestine from the stomach, the soupy mass, it's not really food, it's a soupy mass, it triggers the release of bile from the gallbladder and pancreatic juices from the pancreas. And this is where this amazing biochemical reaction occurs between the acidic chyme and the alkaline bile and pancreatic juices. So you've got the acid chyme triggering the release of alkaline pancreatic juices and bile. That creates what's called an acid-base reaction. And that acid-base reaction fizzes the soupy mass, causing a release of fats. And if you want to picture how this, if you want to imagine this in your mind's eye, if you want to picture this in your mind's eye, think of just taking baking soda and lemon juice, or lemon juice and baking soda. And you mix the two together, you get a fizz. That fizzing reaction liberates the fats in much the same way as some people may know, when you have a greasy roast beef juices stuck on your pan and you can't get them off, you can put lemon juice and baking soda on the greasy stuck fat on the bottom of the pan. The greasy stuck fat will be released. That release of fats from food is perhaps the most critical element of the entire digestive process. For one thing, as we said, it releases essential fatty acids so they can be absorbed. It releases your fatty vitamins, D, E, A, and K, so they can be absorbed. And it also plays a role in the absorption of certain minerals like selenium and calcium and zinc. So that acid-base reaction is critical for the release of nutrients so they can be absorbed. At that point, the nutrients are liberated. And by the way, I should mention there's phytonutrients like carotenes and flavonoids and phytosterols, these plant nutrients that aren't necessarily essential, but play a very important role in good health. Those are also released at with this acid-base reaction. These, by the way, just as a quick aside, these fatty nutrients and these fatty phytonutrients, the sterols and carotenes and flavonoids, are especially important for the skin. And when this does not occur, when this acid-base reaction does not occur, we immediately not only become deficient in fats, essential fatty acids, fatty vitamins, fatty nutrients, certain minerals, but even worse, incompletely processed fats will get released into the blood. Incompletely processed fats will get released into the blood. And these incompletely processed fats, due to deficiencies in bile or pancreatic juices or problems with stomach acid, are very inflammatory. And they can lead to inflammatory reactions throughout the body, most especially in the skin. So without bile or without stomach acid, not only are we going to be malnourished, starving and deficient in fatty vitamins, vitamins D, E, A, and K, which can lead to a whole range of health challenges. Not only are we going to be deficient in carotenes and flavonoids and phytonutrients that are found in foods, leading to inflammatory issues, but we'll also have problems with inflammation from the release of these inflammatory fats, things like leukotrienes and eicosanoids, these molecules that are very short fats that play a role in inflammation. And this is all without bile or without stomach acid. You need both stomach acid and bile. I hope that's clear, because you need to have an acid-base reaction. If you don't have the acid, you don't have the base. If the chyme is not acidic, it's not going to cause the release of the bile. But it's worse than that, because if the chyme is not broken down properly because there's no bile or there's no acid, it will proceed into the intestine where it can feed bacteria, leading to bacterial issues like SIBO, which can lead to leaky gut issues, which of course is the first point on the triangle of disease. Additionally, if there's no bile, or if there's no release of bile, because bile's major role in signaling, helping the body process energy, produce energy, you're going to have problems with energy production at the level of cells, which mean all cells are going to be dysfunctional. All the cells aren't going to work as well as they should because they're not going to have the energy. Also, because of bile's role in signaling for blood sugar control, without bile, you're going to be running higher risks of metabolic syndrome and dysglycemia and ultimately diabetes. So bile, while it plays a key role in digestion, is important for a lot of other things. If the bile is not doing its work appropriately, it can carry toxins with it. And because of a phenomenon called entero, meaning intestine, hepatic, meaning liver, enterohepatic, intestinal liver circulation, that bile will recirculate and will start to become sludgy and toxic. One of bile's most important roles, now we said bile plays a role in energy metabolism, it plays a role in blood sugar metabolism, it plays a role in signaling, telling cells what to do, it plays a role in digestive function, helping release fats. It also is the body's most important detoxifying fluid. So once the bile becomes sludgy and toxic, it's not going to be able to clean out old hormones, poisons from foods, and most especially prescription drugs or illegal drugs for that matter, as effectively. And these toxins will start to accumulate in the body. Old hormones can accumulate in the body because bile is responsible for clearing out estrogen. Estrogen starts to accumulate in the body, and estrogen can wreak havoc on the inflammatory and immune systems. And in fact, we know that high estrogen producers, specifically women, are at high risk for autoimmune diseases, for hypothyroidism, for depression, for reproductive issues, for inflammatory issues. And all of this has to do with incompletely purified or eliminated estrogen, all secondary to bile problems. So you can see that bile plays an incredibly important role. The way the system is supposed to work is bile is manufactured in the liver, and then it is stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. Bladder means bag, gall means bile. And so the gallbladder's role is to store and concentrate bile so that when the acid chyme hits the intestine, you get a big old blast of bile from the gallbladder. If you don't have a gallbladder, that does not happen. If you don't have a gallbladder, that means you're going to be dealing with issues with malnourishment, deficiencies in vitamin A, which can cause skin problems and eye problems and immune system problems. Deficiencies in vitamin A can cause leaky gut issues. So now you're at high risk for leaky gut issues. You'll also be deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D is important for the immune system. Vitamin D is important for the functioning of all of the cells of the body because vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium. You'll be deficient in vitamin E. Vitamin E protects all the cells from breakdown. Vitamin E protects the skin from the sun and protects the eyes from the sun. So you'll be more at risk for macular degeneration. You'll be more at risk for skin diseases. You'll be deficient in vitamin K. Vitamin K is important for the circulatory system, for wound healing. You'll be more likely to have calcification of tissues. You'll be more likely to have problems with bone and connective tissue in general. You won't have the phytonutrients. You can see this can create a disaster in metabolism. Without bile, you're not going to be able to signal as effectively for the cells to do what they need to do. You won't have the same blood sugar control. It could be a big mess, obviously. All of this, of course, and you won't be able to detoxify your drugs and your estrogen will be accumulating. This is why this is the first point on the triangle of disease, by the way. The doctors feel like the gallbladder is not necessary because bile is made in the liver and there's a special tube that will create a drip, drip, drip of bile into the intestine. They say, well, yes, you know, you're not going to get the big old blast of bile from the gallbladder if you have your gallbladder taken out, but you'll still be okay because there's a little bit of bile that gets trickled into the intestine. Wrong. That little bit of bile is nowhere near enough for bile to be able to perform its functions. Not only that, but that trickle of bile can irritate the intestine. The way bile is supposed to get secreted into the intestine is only when you need it. But if you have bile constantly streaming into the intestine through the liver, secondary to the removal of gallbladder, that can irritate the intestine. When the intestine is irritated, the body will try to flush that irritation out with water. And this can create diarrhea, problems with loose stools and diarrhea, which is very common with people who don't have a gallbladder. So you can see that without a gallbladder, you are at serious metabolic risk above and beyond digestive problems, which of course you're going to have because of bile's important role with digestion. You'll also be at higher risk for toxicity issues because bile is important for detox. You'll also be at higher risk for all the estrogenic diseases, which include cancer, as well as autoimmune diseases and inflammation and a shortened lifespan, reproductive problems, elevated cortisol, hypothyroidism, weight gain issues, disruptions in blood sugar, above and beyond bile's role in helping the body process sugar. It's a big mess. And it's all because you don't have a gallbladder. And the gallbladder itself is usually removed because you had a digestive problem in the first place. So you can see why removing a gallbladder is a very, very, very bad idea. Yet, 500,000 of them are removed every year. And the conventional medical wisdom is you don't need your gallbladder. And this is what, if there's anybody out there listening, chances are there's somebody, 1 or 2 or 3 people out there listening right now who have had their gallbladder removed. You know that it's true that the doctor said to you, don't worry about your gallbladder. Lots of people live long, healthy lives without a gallbladder. That's the conventional wisdom. It's not true, and it's very unfortunate. So if you have your gallbladder, keep it. If you have gallstones, which is the major reason for gallbladder removal, work on foods. Food elimination, stand away from gluten and other foods that you can be intolerant to. It's not just gluten, of course, other lectins and food allergens. Make sure that you're working on your digestive system upstream. That means digestive enzymes and stomach acid replacement. If you're wondering where you can get these kinds of supplements, things like stomach acid replacement nutrients like betaine HCl and digestive enzymes, look no further than what Doc calls gallbladder in a bottle, which is your ultimate enzymes, which is what I consider to be our most multifunctional, or at least one of our most multifunctional formulations. Digestive enzymes play, like bile plays a role in metabolic health above and beyond the digestive system, so do the digestive enzymes, so do the ultimate enzymes. They're more important than just digestive support supplements, which we'll talk about here in a second. So the ultimate enzymes are gallbladder in a bottle. But there's other things you could do if you don't have a gallbladder, or if you want to improve gallbladder health so you don't have your gallbladder removed, including protein. There's two very important amino acids, which are found in whey protein, that play a role in the synthesis of bile. And both of them are found in your TMR protein as well as your fit shake. So making sure you're using your TMR protein in your fit shake can also help with bile production. And guess what else? Bile is actually a form of cholesterol. So making sure that you're eating cholesterol-containing foods, the foods they tell you not to eat, organ meats and dairy and eggs, etc., and also supporting healthy cholesterol with antioxidants. One of the big problems with cholesterol is, as Doc has talked about, is bad cholesterol. I shouldn't say bad cholesterol, because that can get confusing with the bad cholesterol that the physicians talk about. Oxidized cholesterol, technically called oxycholesterol, protecting your body from oxycholesterol by using antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E, all of which you'll find in your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, your Healthy Start Pack. Another way that you can help support bile synthesis or the production of bile is with vitamin D. Making sure that you're getting enough sun, or making sure that you're using vitamin D containing supplements. One of the best is, of course, your OsteoFX, or Beyond OsteoFX they call it, which has vitamin D in there. And then staying away from any foods that can cause problems with bile toxicity. Of course, lectins are the most problematic, but any kind of food that causes a digestive reaction should be stayed away from, and that is why I always recommend people do a food diary. Probiotics, the nightly essence, play a very important role in bile health as well. So making sure that you're using your nightly essence as well as your ultimate microbiome to support the health of the nightly essence. So you want to consider gallbladder health to be first and foremost a digestive health issue. And second, that means eliminating problem foods. And secondly, you want to consider gallbladder health to be involved not only staying away from problem foods, but using specific nutritional supplements to build bile. Now, I should mention that the Ultimate Enzymes also have bile salts in them. And bile salts are precursors to bile, and it will help you build your bile. Now, I mentioned earlier how the Ultimate Enzymes are not just good for your digestive system. The Ultimate Enzymes are also blood purifiers. And we know that toxic, dirty blood is the precursor to all chronic degenerative diseases. So using your Ultimate Enzymes on an empty stomach can help purify the blood. Using your Ultimate Enzymes on an empty stomach can also help thin the blood for people who are prone towards blood clots. You have atrial fibrillation or you have a history of heart disease. They may put you on a blood thinner. Using your Ultimate Enzymes on an empty stomach can act as a natural blood thinner. So you may be able to completely eliminate or not even use prescription strength blood thinners, prescription blood thinners, or you may be able to lower your dose on blood thinners. The Ultimate Enzymes taken on an empty stomach are also anti-inflammatories. So for people who have dental pain or back pain or joint pain or any kind of inflammatory pain, even migraine headaches, the Ultimate Enzymes can act as anti-inflammatories that can have pain relieving properties. And these same anti-inflammatory properties, same anti-inflammatory effects that the Ultimate Enzymes have, make them an ideal pre and post-surgery supplement. If you use your Ultimate Enzymes pre-surgery for a couple of weeks and post-surgery for a couple of weeks, you'll get a better prognosis from your surgical procedure and you'll heal much more quickly. In fact, even if you just have bruises, the Ultimate Enzymes, not necessarily bruises from defective connective tissue like folks get when they're older, but bruising from like a fall, or if you get punched in the eye or you get hit in the head with something. If you have bruising, using your Ultimate Enzymes can help speed up the healing of bruising. So you got tremendous multiple benefits with the Ultimate Enzymes, including, of course, as gallbladder in a bottle and also as digestive support. So make no mistake about it. The bile is the body's most underappreciated fluid, and next to the blood, and the lymph, it's probably the most important fluid in the body between its role as a metabolic signaling molecule controlling cellular behavior, as a molecule that supports cellular energy, as a molecule that supports blood sugar control, as a molecule that detoxifies old hormones and drugs and other toxins that come into the body through foods, and as its role, of course, as a digestive supplement, a digestive support molecule that helps improve the release of fats from food. You need bile, and yes, you can make a little bit in your liver, and a little bit will get secreted into the intestine, but it can't even come close to the way nature intended bile to be used, and that is a big old blast coming from the intestine, from the gallbladder into the intestine when the chyme hits the intestine from the stomach.
Wow.
A lot of stuff for bile, right?
That's a lot of stuff. And so one thing that you had mentioned that bile is alkaline, which yes. I've heard in the past that it's the opposite. It's acidic. So we want to make sure that we understand the relationship between bile being alkaline yes. and the chyme being acidic yes. and how they work together.
Yes. Bile is your body's soap. Soap is alkaline. Ivory soap has a pH. Well, real quick, let's just talk about alkaline and acid. The pH, the measurement pH is as a scale that goes from 0 to 14, where 0 is very acidic, like stomach acid is probably 0.4 or 0.5. And alkaline is, or a 14 is very alkaline. 0 acid, 14 alkaline. So things like lye, for example, or the kind of chemicals they use to make perm, to perm your hair, or oven cleaner. Those are all super alkaline. They got a pH of 13 or 14, and stomach acid is a pH of like 0.2 or 0.3. So the scale goes from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. Water is considered to be neutral. Got a pH of 7. In the body, we have to have or I should say in the blood, the pH has to be slightly alkaline. pH of the blood is tightly regulated at 7.38. 7.38 is the alkalinity of actually, you know what? Somebody said stomach acid is acid. No, stomach acid is probably a little higher than that. Stomach acid is probably about 1 or 2, 1.2 or 1.3, somewhere in there. So a sulfuric acid, which is much stronger than hydrochloric acid, is about 0.3 or 0.4. Hydrochloric acid is probably in the 1s somewhere, maybe in the 2s, somewhere in there. That's not that important. The blood, though, has to be at 7.38. If it's a 7.36, slightly acidic, you don't feel so good. If you're really, really sick, your blood could get down to like 7 or even below 7. That's really sick. The body has a lot of mechanisms for keeping the blood at 7.38. The most important mechanism is oxygen. Oxygen is the body's most important alkalinizing agent. Minerals, also, electrolyte minerals also play a certain role. Magnesium and calcium and potassium also tend to be alkaline, but oxygen is the most important way that the body alkalinizes itself. Alkaline water is silly, by the way, because alkaline water, once it hits your stomach, is going to make your stomach acidic, or it's good. Your stomach acid is going to make the water acidic. The minerals in alkaline water may have a slight alkalizing effect, though, and that's kind of why they call it alkaline water. In any case, breathing is the best way to alkalinize your blood, oxygenation, and if you're not breathing correctly, you can run into problems with acidosis. So oxygenation is the most important way to alkalinize the blood. The skin, interestingly, is acidic. And when the skin is alkaline, it becomes less healthy. And in fact, dry skin, older skin, eczematic skin tends to be alkaline. Why do you suppose you'd want the inside of your body to be acidic, or the blood to be acidic, and the skin to be alkaline? To be alkaline and the skin to be acidic.
That's a
What's
great
the
question.
logic? Isn't that interesting? You want your skin to be acidic because the pH of the skin is slightly acidic, 4-ish, 5-ish. The pH of the blood is alkaline, 7.38. Why would the blood be alkaline and the skin be acidic? Well, let's talk about what alkaline and acidic means. Alkaline is like a vacuum cleaner. Alkaline, when something's alkaline, it sucks energy. When something's acidic, it spits out energy. Acid's like a fountain. Alkaline's like a vacuum cleaner. You want your blood to be alkaline so it can pull energy out of food, so it can pull out energy. So you want your skin to be acidic so it can push away bacteria and enemies. It's like you have a force field on your skin, on the outside of your body. It pushes all the bad guys away, but in the inside, you want to suck all the good guys, all this good stuff in, which is kind of interesting. Because when you want your skin to be healthy, you want to put acid on your skin. When you want your body to be healthy, you want to put alkaline into your body. You may have heard that term, alkalinize or die. Sugar is one of the major causes of blood acidity. And this is one of the problems with elevated blood sugar. So the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. The outside of the body is slightly acid. The inside of the body is slightly alkaline. Bile is very alkaline. Stomach acid is very acidic, probably in the 1s, I'm guessing, somewhere in there. And the alkalinity of bile is probably 8 or 9 or maybe even higher. When that acid that's in the 1s hits the alkaline, or when the alkaline hits the acid, you get a fizzing reaction. That fizzing reaction liberates the fats. Fats are very sticky. If you have peanut butter and jelly on a knife, you can rinse away the jelly with water. But what do you need to get the peanut butter off the knife? You need soap. Soap.
Or a tongue.
Or a tongue. Okay, fair enough. But if you're okay, or a tongue, all right. But really, soap is alkaline. That's how soap works its magic. The alkalinity of the soap cleans the peanut butter in combination with the water, creates foam, and cleans off the peanut butter. The same thing happens inside the body. If you really want to get that peanut butter off the knife, put a little lemon juice before you put it on the soap, and you'll get that fizzing reaction. So bile's very alkaline. Stomach acid is very acidic.
All right, folks. So you got a whole chemistry lesson right there. So that's why we put like hyaluronic acid.
Not quite. Hyaluronic acid is actually not very acidic, but that's why we use alpha hydroxy acids. I don't know if you've ever heard of alpha hydroxy acids, right? Glycolic acid, lactic acid. Those are incredibly effective for keeping your skin healthy, for clearing bacteria if you have acne, or for stimulating the production of collagen. And alpha hydroxy acids really revolutionized consumer skincare in the early 1990s. And I built an entire skincare business basically on alpha hydroxy acids in skincare. Before alpha hydroxy acids came out, you really couldn't do much for your skin in terms of over-the-counter topical skincare. But once alpha hydroxy acids came out, everybody could take care of their skin the way previously they'd have to go to a plastic surgeon or a doctor to take care of their skin. And this is why alpha hydroxy acids revolutionized the skincare business. Alpha hydroxy acids, just as an aside, are found throughout nature and especially found in food, including things like milk and lemon juice and apples and grapes. They're found, even ants make alpha hydroxy acids. In fact, alpha hydroxy acids are found in every cell of your body, and the body can derive energy from alpha hydroxy acids. So alpha hydroxy acids for you ladies out there, and guys too, should be the cornerstone of an anti-aging skincare regimen. And if you're not using alpha hydroxy acids topically on your skin, you're missing the boat on topical skincare. Cleopatra used to bathe in, take baths in milk, in sour milk, because of the lactic acid. Lemon juice has been used for eons as a topical treatment for the skin, for things like lightening the skin and for brightening the skin and for stimulating the production of collagen and connective tissue. So we've known about alpha hydroxy acids as a kind of old wives' tale remedy, but now we understand the scientific mechanism for them, and that is the stimulation of connective tissue by acid. Real quick, there's a lot of misunderstandings about acid in the body. A lot of people are under the impression that acid is bad. It turns out that acid is a growth factor. Lactic acid specifically. Alpha hydroxy acids stimulate growth. So anytime somebody tells you about how acids are bad, I don't know if you've heard that, for the inside of the body, it's not true. Acids, however, are a sign of stress. When cells die, they release acids. When cells are no longer able to use oxygen for energy, they can produce acid. That's why when you're lifting weights past a certain point, when your muscles run out of oxygen, you'll start to feel the burn. That burn is the production of acid from a secondary way of producing energy. It's called anaerobic respiration. And the secondary way of producing energy has acid as a byproduct, and it feels like a burn. But guess what? That burn turns on growth. That burn is actually a growth stimulus. So acid actually stimulates growth. This is one of the cool things about the body. The body responds to stress by growing. We have this idea in our culture that stress is a bad thing. Stress is actually a good thing, but it has to be controlled. You can't have too much stress. Too much stress is distress. Just enough stress is eustress, EU. EU is the Greek prefix for good. So just enough stress is eustress, and that's why you want to exercise. That's why you want to work out. That's why you want to do crossword puzzles. That's why you want to challenge yourself. You don't challenge yourself, whether mentally or physically, you don't grow. Growth requires stress. So acid has a bad rap, but as it turns out, acid, when it's secreted in just the right amount, will actually turn on growth.
Well, okay. So as you're talking about things to put on the skin, you know, food can be either our medicine cabinet or a cabinet of destruction.
Yes. Steve Jobs said, if you don't use food as your medicine, you're going to be using your medicine as your food.
There you go.
And Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. Yes, go ahead.
And we're all about using whole food and supplementation as our medicine cabinet.
Absolutely. And it's both. Make no mistake about it. It's both. I love nutritional supplementation. I don't believe you can be maximally healthy without supplementing nutritionally. In fact, I believe most of us, not present company excluded, but most people who aren't supplementing are leaving health on the table. We're not taking advantage of all of the wonderful things our bodies can do because we're not supplementing. But supplementing is supplementing. If you have a supplemental income, that's not your income. That's your supplemental income. You still have to work. You still have to have a job to have your income, just like you still have to have food to make sure you're getting your nutrients, but then you want to supplement. So you can't live on your supplements, but your supplements are critical to be able to maximize and leverage good health. And because food doesn't really have the nutrients that it's supposed to have, a lot of times people are eating foods that are nutritionally, don't have the nutrients they need, and they can actually develop nutritional deficiencies even though they're eating. And that's because of soil depletion and processing and extra toxicity and stress that we all are dealing with in the year 2024. So, you can't be maximally healthy without supplementing. Doc noticed this back in the 1940s and 1950s, and the situation has become even more dire than it was 70 years ago. Today, in my opinion, it's impossible to be maximally healthy without getting on a good nutritional supplement program.
I agree. Absolutely agree. Now, going back to alkaline, and you had answered a question that Rafa had in regards to drinking alkaline water. But he's going on to that is drinking alkaline green juices also silly.
No, the nutrients in alkaline water, you're going to get nutrients. Most alkaline water has electrolytes in it. That's how it's alkaline. You'll get potassium and calcium and sodium, etc. Those are good, and those will have an alkalizing effect. I don't know what particular brands he's talking about or particular formulations this gentleman's talking about, but generally speaking, green drinks and green juices are great. They have greens in them, chlorophyll, and magnesium, which is green, as well as other nutrients, phytonutrients, plant nutrients. They're wonderful. But as far as alkalinizing the blood, that's not how the blood gets alkaline. The blood is not supposed to be alkaline by food. The blood is supposed to be alkaline by oxygen. Minerals, however, in foods will have an alkalinizing effect. But that's not the primary way the body alkalinizes. The blood alkalinizes itself.
And that's why you speak a lot of slow, deep breathing.
And that's why you feel good when you slow. One of the reasons, there's a few reasons, but one of the reasons is because you're alkalinizing your blood. Oxygen alkalinizes the blood. Carbon dioxide, by the way, carbon dioxide, when you blow off carbon dioxide, you're blowing off acid. Carbon dioxide is acidic. And the stuff that's in your exhale is acidic. So when you exhale, you're blowing off acid. When you inhale, you're taking an alkaline. So it's a combination of inhaling and exhaling. You always want to exhale more than you inhale. Exhaling activates the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system. We relax on the exhale. So you always want to inhale or exhale more than you're inhaling for maximum oxygenation and relaxation benefits. On the other hand, if you're tired, so let's say you're driving and you start to fall asleep, you ever experience that where you're nodding off and you definitely don't want to fall asleep when you're driving, you're worried about that? You do the breath of fire, which is where you inhale more than you exhale, or you inhale really fast. You go, you can do that right now and you'll feel that you get energy, right? That has the opposite effect. That stimulates the sympathetic nervous system and gives you energy. So if you're feeling tired or first thing in the morning, if you want to get a quick jolt of energy, you do the breath of fire where you breathe really fast and you inhale more than you exhale. But for most people, you want to do the opposite because most people want to relax. And that is exhaling more than you inhale.
All right. So
do the breath of fire real quick. Do the breath of fire. Feel it. No, blow out of your mouth.
I got to practice that.
You feel energy?
I'm used to doing everything through my nose.
You do typically want to do things through your nose, but with the breath of fire, you really want to blow off carbon dioxide.
Well, and then I want to make sure there's enough oxygen in my air, which is why I have my real plants.
You have your real what? Your plants?
My real plants.
Yes, yeah. That's right. Yeah, plants are giving off oxygen.
Yep. So, wow. So we had a couple great lessons today, folks. Gallbladder, what you can do to help yourself be able to enjoy life without having the most common side effects of having your gallbladder removed, which, by the way, I have clients that have had their gallbladder removed and they still get gallstones.
Well, you can't have gallstones because you don't have a gallbladder.
But they get stones in that tube.
Oh, in the tube that's coming from the liver? Yeah, you can study. Yeah, stones. Let me talk about stones real quick. All stones. You get tear duct stones and bladder stones and whatever stones you get. Kidney stones. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody who had a kidney stone. They're agonizing. Stones are a sign of supersaturation. Supersaturation means saturation of the fluid, the blood specifically, or the bile, past the point where it can handle the solids in the liquid. So if you take a glass of water and you put salt in it, the salt will dissolve, right? If you put another scoop of salt, it'll dissolve. You put another scoop, it'll dissolve. But you'll reach a point where you put a scoop of salt in and everything will precipitate. A bunch of crystals will show up. Have you ever seen this? When you put too much salt, because the water can't handle the salt. We say that the water is not saturated. We say it's super saturated. The water can no longer handle any more salt. Every time you put salt in and it dissolves, it's as if the water is sucking up the salt, but a point is going to be reached where the water, there's no more room. That's what a stone is. A stone is the end result of fluids that have too much solids in them. This fluid is supersaturated and they start to precipitate out. So you say, what causes the fluids to become supersaturated? Toxicity. This is why gallstones form secondary to digestive toxicity. The fluid can't handle all those toxins and it saturates out. One thing I forgot to mention is the bile, as it comes out from the gallbladder, goes into the intestine. I said it circulates back to the liver, it goes into the gallbladder, and it does a big circle. Some of it is eliminated. So not all of it circulates, some of it is eliminated, and this is one of the ways the body gets rid of things. It gets rid of estrogen and old hormones this way, and it gets rid of toxins this way, and it gets rid of cholesterol this way. If the bile is becoming sludgy and toxic and it's not being eliminated correctly, if you're chronically constipated, for example, all that toxicity is going to keep recirculating. It's not going to get eliminated. Your cholesterol will be high, your toxins will, your blood toxins will be increased, and old hormones, particularly old estrogen, will build up. So chronic constipation is another cause of this dirty, sludgy bile. And of course, chronic constipation can be the result of nutritional deficiencies, specifically in the B vitamins, deficiencies in fiber, as well as overeating. Overeating can cause chronic constipation. So anything that causes chronic constipation, or any incidences, I should say, of chronic constipation, will increase bile toxicity, lead to stones, and make bile less functional.
All right. Well, we do have a couple hands up, so let's take the next 10 minutes and let's get some questions answered. And I know that we had a question on YouTube saying, can I get some help with controlling my gallbladder, my bile, I think is what it was. And absolutely, folks, if you were referred to this program by somebody specific, get back with them and say, hey, this is what I heard. What can I do? And the person that shared this program with you may possibly be a health advocate, a certified holistic health coach, a health coach that really does care about you and your health journey. And because of that care, they have joined us within the Longevity family as a Longevity associate. So, folks, if you also care about people and want to help them, you too can be a Longevity associate. So get back to the person that shared this program with you. If there's no one to thank, please give us a call at 855-949-3377. And this is also if you're just wanting to get help and what you can do to help yourself create a better health journey. Again, 855-949-3377. But those are for people who are not already working with somebody or have not been referred to this program by somebody. This is a resource for an amazing community. We want to make sure that that community stays intact. Now, firsthand, Bill, go ahead and unmute yourself. What question do you have for Pharmacist Ben today?
Thank you, Ben. On using Z-Radical and the Fucoidan products, is it best to take that separate from food or tea, coffee, any interruption?
That shouldn't make a difference. In fact, probably best to take it with food. The nutrients in fucoidan, the polysaccharides specifically in fucoidan that have all the wonderful benefits, are a type of food. And so when the digestive juices are flowing, you're going to get better absorption of your polysaccharides, the fucoidan, in the Fucoid Z and the Z radical. And I like the Fucoid Z much more than I like the Z. The Z radical's tasty for sure, but the Fucoid Z is much more medicine.
Why?
Because it's concentrated. You're getting just the fucoidan. In the Z radical, you're getting a drink. You're getting water, you're getting sugar, it's like a beverage. It's tasty. But the Fucoid Z is the medicine. It's the good stuff.
And how would you take the powder then? Like with the I-26, I just mix it up in a shaker jar with water.
Do that. You can take it with your meals. There's no strict instructions on how to take it. Just take it with food. Just take it with your meals. And by the way, you can take as much of it as you want. That's one of the coolest things about the Fucoid Z. To a pharmacist, we're always looking for benefits with no toxicity. There's always going to be a compromise when you're taking a drug between toxicity and benefits, or toxicity and, I shouldn't say benefits, toxicity and metabolic change or biological changes. They're not always beneficial, but between the effects of a drug and the toxicity of a drug, you're always going to have a balance. But with Fucoid Z and with nutrients, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have any toxicity. You can take that whole bottle.
And with the Fucoid, it is in capsule form.
You can break open the capsule.
Easy to take.
Yeah, you can also break open the capsule if you want to mix it with your I-26.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, great question, Bill. Thank you so much. I don't think we've had that question before. So I love the fact that we can provide new information to help people in their journeys. Let's go to TC. TC, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Back. Hi, Ben.
Hi, TC.
Yeah.
TC?
Yeah, I have a question. I have two questions. And the first
Yes.
one is about, you were talking about acid and alkaline. And
Yes.
my question is about apple cider vinegar, which I know
Yes.
you are a fan of for digestion. Now, I
Yes.
use a tablespoon of that per meal, but I
Yes.
read that it can soften bones. And I also read that it can strengthen bones.
Soften bones. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not going to soften bones. I think they may be thinking about the acid, but you're not. When you drink apple cider vinegar, it mixes in with your digestive juices. It's not like apple cider vinegar goes into your blood. It's definitely not going to soften your bones. I don't know where you heard that from.
Okay, so
however,
3 tablespoons a day would not be a problem. I mean,
No,
it wouldn't make
no.
a difference one way or another. Okay.
No, not on bones. Not on bones. The minerals, however, in apple cider vinegar, and the vitamins for that matter, they can have a positive effect on all connective tissue, including bones.
Okay. Okay, because I was wondering if it also strengthens bones.
That's what I'm saying. The minerals and the vitamins in apple cider vinegar can definitely have a bone strengthening effect.
Okay. And my second question is, because I know Doc Wallach talks about what he eats every day. I'd like to know what Ben's diet is. Like, what do you eat? Breakfast, lunch, supper?
First of all, you don't eat 3 meals a day. I don't know where that came. That's kind of something that just kind of developed. You ever wonder why we eat 3 meals a day? Do lions eat 3 meals a day in the jungle? They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They stop what they're doing for lunch and dinner. No. It's kind of the way we eat is more about marketing and economics and sociology and our culture than it is about what's biologically important. So you only need to eat once a day. We don't need to eat anywhere near as much as we think we need to eat. And if you want to experiment sometime, notice how often we eat because it's time to eat or because we want to eat versus how many times we eat because we absolutely have to eat. And you'll be shocked to see how few times our eating behavior is based on having to eat, or else we'll just absolutely pass out. That hardly ever happens. So the less you eat, the longer you live, because eating requires work. And the less work the body has to do digesting, the more it can do fighting cancer and building bone and having a great life. So that really the question is, when it comes to eating behavior, do we want to spend our nutritional resources and our energy, our metabolic energy, on digesting food? Or do we want to spend it on having a great life? Of course, you have to eat, but you don't have to eat that much. And the more nutrition...
Okay, I'm kind of wondering what do you eat?
Well, let me say this real quick. The more micronutrients you get, the less calories you need. This is one of the reasons why when people start supplementing with a micronutrient supplement program, the less calories they need. And that gets us to the distinction that nobody really ever talks about when it comes to food. And that's the distinction between macronutrition and micronutrition. Macronutrition has calories. It's the protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Micronutrition has no calories. It's the vitamins and the minerals and the amino acids and the fatty acids. The micronutrition helps the body utilize the energy from the macronutrition, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, and the fatty acids, so-called mighty 90 essential nutrients, help the body utilize the energy from the protein and fats and carbohydrates. And in nature, proteins and fats and carbohydrates are married to the perfect balance of vitamins, minerals, aminos, and fatty acids. That's called a whole food. What we've done over the last 150 years at an accelerated pace, really over the last 15, 20, 30 years, but really beginning about 10,000 years ago, we figured out how to separate the macro from the micro. Consequently, many of us are eating lots of macro without anywhere near the micro, meaning we're getting the protein, fats, and carbohydrates, especially the fats and carbohydrates, because proteins are expensive, without the vitamins, minerals, and aminos and fatty acids that allow us to use the protein, fats, and carbohydrates. That's why we are the starving obese. We have plenty of calories, but we can't use them. And it's also why, as soon as you supplement with a micronutrient supplement program, you don't need as much macronutrients, because now you can get more bang for your buck. You can take advantage of all the stuff in the protein, fats, and carbohydrates because you're using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which is why I say to people, take your Beyond Tangy Tangerine or drink your Beyond Tangy Tangerine with your dinner and breakfast and lunch. It'll help you get more energy from your nutrients.
I do take that. I'm on a program that
Perfect. And then also, you asked me what I eat. I try to eat as simply as possible.
Okay.
And I try to eat as little as possible. And I try to eat as unprocessed as possible. So, for example, I have this thing called a Thermomix, which I encourage everybody to get. It's a little expensive, is the only problem. It's about $1,500, but it's an amazing steamer. It steams everything. And I try to steam. That's the way I cook most of my foods, by steaming. A piece of fish, a couple stalks of broccoli, and maybe a scoop of rice. And that's plenty. And that has your veggies, it has your carbs, it has your protein, it has your essential fats because it's steamed. The fats are kept intact. And that's so filling and so delicious. Also, use spices. Spices are amazing. They make food so delicious. You don't need to eat a lot of foods because it tastes so good. It's savory. So I love spice, garlic, onions, Italian spice, cinnamon. By the way, cinnamon is great for
spices, but I have a hernia, so spices are probably not good for the hernia.
No. I don't mean not all spices. Just because when we say spices, you're thinking of spiciness. Have you ever had Italian seasoning?
Yes, yeah.
That's not spicy. It's a spice.
Well, I mean,
like,
like basil or oregano.
You're thinking of the more medicinal ones. You might have a problem with those. But just because something's a spice doesn't mean it's spicy. So if you have a hiatal hernia, that's a little bit different. There are things like garlic you probably can't do, or maybe capsaicin you can't do, but you can probably do. What's that?
Inguinal hernia.
Oh, you have an inguinal hernia. You could do spicy foods with an inguinal hernia.
That shouldn't be a problem?
No. Inguinal hernia has nothing to do with your
digestion. I mean,
digestive
oregano and basil and
awesome.
That's pretty good. I know that.
Great.
But like paprika or cayenne pepper is
You have a problem with cayenne. Yeah. You have to see what you can do, but there's some spices you can do.
Yeah.
And then I love smoothies. My TMR shake, I do that every day. TMR shake, a little almond milk, water and almond milk, and then a banana. And then sometimes I'll crack an egg in there.
Yeah. Well, and I understand the whole spice thing because I'm allergic to black pepper, which then triggers a hiatal hernia, and it's not fun.
Oh, if you can do black pepper, try to figure out a way to do your nutritional supplements with black pepper. Black pepper increases the absorption of nutrients.
What can I use instead of black pepper?
To increase the absorption of nutrients, you can use there's certain herbs. Astragalus and ginseng will increase the absorption of nutrients.
All right, we're going to have a topic on our show on that. We do have one more person with their hand up, and I know they have some important questions that are coming in from YouTube. Yes. So, Ruth Ellen, please join us here. What questions are you bringing in today?
Thank you, and thanks for being here, Ben. We always love it.
Thank you.
All right, so Spyro from YouTube says, they removed my mom's gallbladder a long time ago. She's 69 now. Is there anything we can do to keep her in tip-top shape naturally?
Of course, there's a million things you could do. First of all, without a gallbladder, she's going to have to be very serious about fat absorption. So she probably wants her ultimate enzymes. with all her meals. Make sure she's using her Mighty 90 essential nutrients to get her fatty vitamins, and her ultimate EFAs are a must-have. In fact, for older people, for everybody really, but especially as we get older, the ultimate EFAs are incredibly important for inflammation and anti-inflammation, for the whole healing and anti-inflammatory process, as well as for hormone health, and as well as for protecting against leaky gut, which chances are she has if she had her gallbladder taken out. So making sure she's doing a lot of her ultimate EFAs with food, and her ultimate enzymes, because she's not going to be absorbing her fats, her ultimate EFAs, if she tries to take them, if she doesn't have digestive juices going and she's not using her ultimate enzymes. So without a gallbladder, you're going to be compromised at the level of fat absorption. It becomes very important that you take all your fatty nutrients with foods, with your ultimate enzymes, and do smaller portions of fatty foods, because you're going to have a difficult time processing fats. And then, of course, anything she can do to liquefy her foods is going to help her utilize the nutrients. Also, she has chronic diarrhea. A lot of times when people have a gallbladder, when they have their gallbladder removed, as I said earlier, because of that little trickle of bile that comes in from the liver, they end up with chronic diarrhea. If that's an issue for her, she needs to make sure that she's eating much smaller portions and taking care of her intestinal health using her nightly essence, as well as her I-26. And more than likely the ultimate microbiome. Although somebody told me the ultimate microbiome is not available. Is that true, Rebecca?
It's on back order, but it's coming back.
Okay, good.
Yes, it is.
And let me just say this, I love talking about the digestive system, and I know a lot about it, but nobody knows more, including me, about the digestive system than Dr. Joanne Conaway.
And as her time allows, she will be absolutely on Daily with Doc.
All right. And then Beach Time says that I had 15 feet of small intestines removed 3 months ago. Can that be causing hair loss now?
100%. It can cause all kinds of problems. Now, I assume that if she had cancer, that's why they took it out. Hopefully that's the only reason. I don't think they take them out for a lot of reasons, but and by the way, colon cancer rates are going through the roof, and all intestinal diseases really are going through the roof. I was just reading an article, and I talked about this on a video on my other YouTube channel, for my other longevity YouTube channel, about how doctors are mystified that irritable bowel disease rates are increasing dramatically, and nobody can figure out why. Well, hello, it's because of how we're eating ultra-processed food and sugar foods and overeating and all of that. So yeah, colon disease is a big, big problem. If you have 15 feet of colon removed, you're going to have serious issues with malabsorption. And this is a very important point. And I forgot if I mentioned, I say this so many times, I forgot if I mentioned this earlier in this conversation. If you have an intestinal problem, you're going to have a 1-2 punch of disease and bodily breakdown. Punch number 1 is you're going to have toxicity that gets into the bloodstream through a leaky gut. Punch number 2 is malabsorption of nutrients. Somebody who's had 15 feet of intestine removed is going to be dealing with major, major malabsorption issues because nutrients are absorbed through the intestine. So yes, she absolutely 100% should get on the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, the Healthy Start Pack ASAP today. Okay.
And then each time also wanted to know, what is the best melatonin to take?
Melatonin is a generic substance, but I don't know if you've had the sleep gummies. They are amazing.
Are the best.
They're amazing. It's one of the best formulated longevity products there is. Just came out a few months ago, I think, the new ones. And in fact, they recommend 3 gummies. I can't take 3 gummies. You take 1 or 2. That's plenty. Yeah, they say 3. That's even too much. So yes, that's my new favorite sleep aid, is the melatonin gummies, or sleep gummies.
Well, thank you so much for answering the questions.
Thank
you again for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and thank you, everybody. So we are past time. Thank you so much, Ben, for hanging out with us and being on overtime. As you know, Fridays, well, every day, but especially Fridays, when we have Pharmacist Fridays, we're always bringing in valuable information that goes a little deeper into how the systems work and don't work because of nutritional deficiencies, malabsorption, the way we eat. So thank you so much for bringing that light. We greatly appreciate it. We are going to, and I think AJ's raising his hand for this, but today's like a full-fledged packed day of Pharmacist Ben.
Yes,
AJ.
I have another call. When are we doing our call? We never decided when. AJ, call me.
Unmute yourself, AJ. Don't just raise your
Yeah,
hand.
I was trying to put you on a spot so that we could tell everyone what time we were going to do it.
Let's say, let me think here. How about 7:30 tonight, my time?
7:30 your time. Okay.
Okay.
So Becca, what time is that for everyone?
So that's 7:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Pacific, 8:30 Central, and 9:30 Eastern. And, you know, it goes on from there. So I think that's like 2:30 a.m. in South Africa.
And then Dr. Wallach is unmuted. He just wanted to say hi.
Oh, Doc's on.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you, Doc.
This is a fabulous job as usual. And thank you, team, for being there to get the information out to people. I can't thank you enough. You're angels of God. I'm so very proud of each and every one of you. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you for everything you do, because we wouldn't be here without you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. We love and appreciate you and all you've done and continue to do in helping mankind and humanity around the world, which reminds me, Alaska. Thank you, Elaine. 5:30 p.m. Alaska. If you want to plug into Pharmacist Ben Bites with Coach AJ. And we've got lots of people sending hugs and kisses to Dr. Wallach and Pharmacist Ben and just saying thank you. Folks, you may never have heard this information from any other program ever, but it's pure truth. It's what's helped me. It's what's helped my co-hosts and the people who probably invited you to watch this program. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. If you found it on your own, AJ's just wanting the floor. Go for it, AJ.
No, I'm sorry, Becca. It's just you were probably going to say it, but people in the chats are asking, well, where can I find the Mighty 90? Well, the first thing I would say is in the description, they talk about a lot of the products that Ben mentioned. But if you can't find it and you need some help, email questions@dailywithdoc.com or call 855-949-3377.
There you go. 855-949-3377. And I was corrected on the time for South Africa. Thank you, Albert. It's 3:30 a.m. in South Africa. So yes, you can get the Mighty 90. That's the best place to start, the 90 essential nutrients, because that is going to give your body the foundation of what it needs. And it's not the product specifically, but it's the synergistic blend of everything that has been proven to be required by the body to go from survive to thrive. And I love the fact that we know what is in those products and that they are absorbable and they can help. Absolutely help. Pharmacist Ben.
And this is why I want people to get the flip chart, because it goes into this very 77 pages of the Mighty 90. Okay. And there you go. And this is the metabolic syndrome. That's my newest book. It's only 3 months old, the metabolic syndrome. Those two things will cover 75 common diseases. Okay, the metabolic syndrome and the 90 for Life Crusade flip chart. These things are priceless. It has famous people in here, their stories. We're talking about athletes, movie actors, politicians, professional people, doctors, people who are pathologists, people who are pharmacists. And they had diseases that the medical system couldn't fix. And we fixed them with our Mighty 90. And they tell their stories in the flip chart. And when you see their pictures in the flip chart where they're telling their story, they're smiling. I mean, we get rid of Parkinson's disease. None of those diseases, okay, are genetic. None of them are due to old age. They're all due to nutritional deficiencies. page 26 and 27 are my favorites. And, we're talking about just nutrition can prevent and reverse. Now sit down. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, ALS, amyotrophic sclerosis, okay, Huntington's chorea, frontotemporal dementia, and there's like 30 others, okay, that are said to be genetic and old age disease by the medical system. They're simple nutritional deficiencies. You take the nutrients and stay away from the bad stuff that interferes with nutritional absorption, and you'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life.
Yes, you absolutely can. And also a statistician and full-time mom, and now the hostess of this program is in that flip chart. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And folks, you can find Dr. Wallach's books at drjwallach.com. Make sure you spell Wallach correctly. WALLACH.com. And we also have the question, how do you find the replays of this program? Well, folks, just go to your favorite search Daily with Doc, and even the date, and you will come up with the exact program of this date. So today is 9/20/2024 to get the replay of today's program. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We had an amazing show today. Amazing questions. Thank you, Pharmacist Ben. I know you've got another appointment to get to.
Super job.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you, everybody who makes this call possible. I appreciate all of you, Phyllis, Ruth Ellen, Marilyn, Albert. Bye, everybody. And AJ, of course, AJ.
Phyllis,
See you
Thank you, AJ, for making things run smooth.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yes. We all work together. And folks, if you've got skills that you would like to use to help make things work smoothly for whether it's our team or somebody else's team, folks, this is not just a one community effort, but there's communities around the world that really do want to help people find better health. Get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there's no one to thank, and that's if there's no one to thank, you've never tried the longevity products, you're not working with somebody else, because we do want to maintain that integrity of our program, then you can give us a call at 855-949-3377. Or if you got questions that we did not get to, questions at DailywithDoc.com. That's questions at DailywithDoc.com. If you'd like more information about how you can be involved with us, it's info at DailywithDoc.com. Again, INFO at DailywithDoc.com. So everybody, have a fantastic day. As been mentioned, it takes several of us to make this program work smoothly. We have Ruth Ellen Sanchez, my executive production manager, who keeps us all organized and gets that stream together and pushes it out. We have Albert, who's joining us at wee hours of the morning now, or night, late night, letting people in. We have Marilyn and Phyllis both putting valuable information into the chat and watching those different platforms and bringing questions in. Thank you both. We have AJ, who has been very instrumental in getting us on all those different platforms. And the ones that we don't live stream to, he is manually loading those up and making sure that we are available and findable. Folks, share this program with us or with somebody else. There's so many people that are hurting. I was one of them. And if it wasn't for somebody sharing a program similar to this with me, I would not be here thriving like I am today. So be a blessing to somebody else. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you again so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc and Becca. Have a blessed day and join us Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. And you can find us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or just go to our website, DailywithDoc.com, and you will find replays of our past programs. Until next time, bye for now. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.